to the Sounds Obtuse Podcast, ladies. I'm your host, Dylan Carter. With me, as always, Christian Cruz.
What's up, man?
What's up, buddy?
With us, in fact, is a returning guest to the pod and very poignant guest, topical guest, once we get into it. Lady A.
Hello.
How's it going?
Going good.
It's always good to have her back. She
Definitely.
brings such a just wonderful voice to the pod. And I think, as you've said, I think a very important voice for this podcast in particular.
Yeah, if we haven't hammered it home fully just yet, tonight's topic at hand, I think you should let people know.
If you sleep under a rock and you don't know that this is in fact Women's History Month, that's what we're talking about today.
Sure is, and that is why. Well, it's not exactly why, but I think it helps to have a woman on the podcast.
I think it certainly does. Need that refreshing voice to cut through all of our just chauvinistic bullshit.
Yeah, I was ready to just do this thing, and then Dylan was like, whoa.
I couldn't believe it. He's like, we should do a podcast about women's history. And the idea of having a woman on pod did not occur. So obviously this is for Christian here. This pod, are you going to listen? I hope you listen.
We like to educate ourselves on these podcasts, whether it's autism or whether it's, what else we learn about.
I think the only time we ever taught anyone anything was about autism.
All right,
I think the rest of it was a bunch of bullshit, but here we go.
All right.
We try to have fun on this show. We try to, keep things light, topical.
We do.
But occasionally, we kind of like to just dive in a little bit more seriously, try to actually have some real conversation, make some actual points. So I think that's what we're trying to do this time.
Yeah, and of course we'll have some more serious pods in the future and some more lighthearted pods in the future. That's
right. Got to keep the balance.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But before we get into today's topic at hand, Dylan, how you been this week, dog?
I've been great. Most of my time has been consumed by planning for a particular trip next week.
Ooh, sounds like a fun time.
I think it is going to be a fun time. Me and a very good friend of mine named Christian Cruz.
Hey, that's me, man.
I know, it's crazy. We are going up to D.C. We're going to...
Big Washington, the big capital.
We decided, you know what? It's been way too long since the last time we were on a scooter. So we need to get up to D.C., gas prices and so on and so forth going on.
Seriously, man, I'm telling you.
You don't want to drive to D.C., so what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Fucking scoot there, bitch.
You're not going to scoot to D.C.? What are we going to do?
Oh, yeah, we're going to scoot in D.C. So, Amtrak.
We're taking Amtrak.
Ski, bang, bang. Amtrak.
Bang, bang.
Right there.
We're going to try it out, see what happens. So we're going to Amtrak up there. So I've been doing like a bunch of logistics of like not only how to use Amtrak, but also like how to use Metro. Found some really cool videos. I've been just like engrossed in the like everything you can do in DC and every way to get around in DC specifically is what I've been just focusing on.
Including, but not limited to, was it Wharf?
The Wharf. Yeah, we're gonna go check out the Wharf. We're gonna take the water taxi to Alexandria to get ice cream.
It's the ice cream capital of
it is
the States, I think.
Yeah.
Possibly
US,
the world.
Yeah, possibly the world. I mean, we don't know. We'll fight it out.
Yeah.
Have like a war over it eventually.
Figure it out.
Sure.
But it's supposed to have some dang good ice cream there.
So that's what I've been doing. I've been planning this amazing trip. You get logistics and transportation planning. Like that's just like a wet dream for me, honestly.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. For all of it, honestly. Yeah. So we look forward to that. Anything else going on?
I know that's been. I actually, you know what? Yes, it was a very early part of this week. I actually got to have something that was incredibly eye-opening.
What was that?
I went to a party. My friend AJ.
Mexican AJ. Your AJ.
Mexican AJ. We don't gotta call him that. We can just call him AJ. I don't really like Mexican AJ. That's not
I think we altered that.
His name's also Angel. I feel like I can just say.
I think you mentioned that, but I want to make it clear that Angel.
He also did say like you can call me Angel. So
yeah,
Angel. So my friend Angel went over to his house, and he had two friends over that I had not met before. A very tall gentleman and a very short woman. And the gentleman was Polish, and the woman, his partner, Russian. What a person to have just dropped in front of you, whom you can ask all the questions in the world.
I know. Those are they're popping out the woodwork.
And then she was like...
To see one in person?
I asked her a couple questions very tentatively, and then she was like, oh, you don't have to be careful. I really like discussing and like asking and answering questions. I think that's how you like learn about people.
Yeah, that's what we do here.
So like once she told me that, I was like, well, I just want to pick your brain. I'll talk about some more of that probably a little bit later on, but I did get to have that experience.
Cool.
What about you? What have you been doing, Chris?
Well, I had some notes here and there, but in classic Chris fashion, I could not find them. Perfect. Like just like some notes during the week that you just like.
Yeah, I even started
talk about that. Yeah, you lose them. It happens. A couple highlights from my week. I don't know if you noticed. In the workplace, I've been like tucking my pants into my socks.
Why is that?
You know, I think it like makes it where your pants don't like drag on the floor.
You don't want
Salt.
that to happen?
No.
Your thrift store pants?
I
You gotta
mean,
protect those?
They're slacks, man. But also, I think it looks like a Dragon Ball Z android. You know,
Now the truth comes out.
it's a cool move.
Oh, man.
So yeah, I think I've been trying that out here and there. You know,
Just keeping things fresh.
yeah, you gotta change it up a little
Capital
bit.
PH fresh.
Yeah, it's like borderline pirate pants in a sense. Just makes the workday a little more
Nobody's stopping Chris.
adventurous.
You just can't.
No.
You just can't stop Chris. First time I ever saw the guy.
The only person that can stop me is myself. You guess, ask Dylan right now. I almost wore a fingerless glove out in public, and you're like, man, the guy you're going with who's gonna be there is gonna fucking love it. And I was like, yeah, but I can't do that. I have to pull my own reins in, and this motherfucker had 2 fingerless gloves. So I was like, dog.
We get there, and the guy I was hyping up, Chris, was not disappointed. He was wearing 2 fingerless gloves.
So shout out Val, cool guy.
Very cool guy.
I agree with a lot of his lifestyle. I dig it. So yeah, that's fun. Today's also March 10th, Mario Day.
Super March 10th.
Yeah, Super March 10th, Mario Day. You guys play Mario games?
Yeah, because I grew up.
But
in
no
America.
Nintendo Switch. You
Yeah.
should get in that. You guys should get on that.
Is there a Mario game for the Nintendo Switch?
That's all there is for the Nintendo Switch is Mario games.
I'm assuming that's what Nintendo has turned into.
Yeah.
It's just like, we have Mario, though.
No, they have great things. They have, because I've been playing it this week, Doom.
Oh, okay.
Doom on Nintendo Switch, like 2016 version.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like you have the motion control, so you can just slightly tilt this way and get that headshot.
I got you.
It's fantastic. So yeah, a lot of that, a lot of just, me, you work at the same place, just the general doldrums of a general week.
I try not to think about all that.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going to mention it.
That's what I'm thinking about.
And of course, like Lost Notes, like this shit happens all the time. But we're here. We're doing a podcast today. Podcast episode 18, Women's History. That's going to be interesting. But we got a few news headlines to go through
Got those headlines.
before we dive into the deep thicket. Starting off, this is one I've been wanting to mention for like ever because I originally thought it was going to be, you're going to see it as an ad in the Super Bowl. Did not happen. Mountain Dew hard seltzer
No.
makes its drop. Finally. So far, it's only available unless you were an influencer or something and got a special package. Florida, Tennessee, and Iowa.
The fuck's happening in Iowa?
Well,
Whose dick did Iowa suck?
so I've never been to Iowa, but maybe they got a lot of whiskey there because that's what Mountain Dew was actually supposed to be originally.
Moonshine, right?
Yeah. Like
Which is
something like that. It's some sort of alcohol. So it's kind of come full circle.
Mountain Dew and Sierra Mist, while not the same drink,
Definitely not.
is the same name. Sierra is just Spanish for mountain, right?
Yeah. One's like the mountain. One's like, that is interesting.
And there's Dew and Mist. I mean, come on. Like, that is the same name. Now I need to know who came first so we can know.
Definitely Mountain Dew. That shit's been around a long time.
They're both by the same company.
They are a Pepsi company. They are. They are actually.
Wow, that makes sense then. Okay.
Free-to-lay, I think. The writers of a headline said that it was, quote, felt like staring at God when they drank this Mountain Dew. So, take their word for it.
The writer of the headline, is that what you said?
Yeah. So these are sugar-free, 5% alcohol, no caffeine, but the flavors are regular, Baja Blast, watermelon, black cherry.
If they get that, like, gingerbread one, I might think about it. That gingerbread was that's the best Mountain Dew they ever made.
I did not like that.
It's the only Mountain Dew worth drinking, in my honest opinion.
What do you think about Mountain Dew?
I like the Baja Blast freezes.
How would you like that with alcohol?
I mean, we've been drinking them that way for years.
Ye-
Fuck, you pour some fucking Parrot Bay rum in that shit, you're like, you get turned.
All right, but I bring a pack of Mountain Dew hard seltzer, drop it down on this podcast room floor. You're not drinking any?
I mean, I'd definitely try one because, I'm a seltzer fan, but
Yeah.
I'm out here preaching the good word about Truly, and you're coming in with all this nonsense.
All right, well, speaking of nonsense.
That's what this whole pod is, baby. You all signed up for it. If you're listening, you're here by your own choice, I hope.
So we didn't mention this last week, probably because we were still talking about scooters. The MLB season was on strike.
They were.
They finally reached an agreement.
How's that going?
So they want the increase from 570,500 for like I think starting pay
Mm-hmm.
to 700,000, and that could be like 780,000, 780. Yeah, 780,000. I think
I just watched him count on his fingers and toes to get to 780,000.
I think I misplaced a comma, so I'm like, wait a minute. They got like bonus draft pool lottery stuff, things like that. It's called the MLB's bluff. What do you call those things? A collective bargaining agreement.
Collective bargaining agreement.
So yeah, they got what they wanted. So after all that's cleared, thank goodness, we'll have the next MLB season. It'll be a full season starting April 7th. You guys excited?
I'm not a baseball fan.
Have you ever been to a stadium and saw a game though?
Yeah, when I was really little, I went to a Cardinals game.
We should go to a Nationals game.
I love
Should.
Nationals
love
for this
baseball,
games, man?
and the Nationals are my team.
So we should all obtuse road trip.
There we go.
It'd be so
Go
fun.
Take a day trip.
Dude, it'd be amazing.
Take up a lot of the day though.
Not as much as you think.
I
Not
mean,
as
I've
much as you
been
think.
I've been to the Nationals.
Where are
multiple
the tickets?
times.
Like $7. We can leave whenever the fuck we
Oh,
want.
they really? I figured they
Yeah.
were way more
If
than
you
that.
sit in the way in the back,
Oh,
get them right
yeah,
there
yeah,
that day.
I don't know. I think we might pay like 15 at least.
I mean, they're cheap.
Try to
Parking
sneak
is
in a
more than the
flask
tickets.
again.
Yeah.
Parking.
I know we won't have to worry about
No,
that.
we don't.
That's
No.
what I was saying. I'm
No, we
like,
don't.
we
Fuck
drove up
bullshit.
there. I've been up there for
Oh,
several
I see.
games. I've gone with my family. I've gone with my friend. I took my daughter up there when she was little. Got to go get her
By
picture with Screech.
By car.
We went by car.
Bourgeois.
We just went for
What
the
a
day,
drag.
and we went with children.
Take them on the Amtrak. It's cheaper with children.
Yeah, well, maybe
Maybe
one day.
maybe tune in next week's pod. See how that goes.
I hope I'll hear about it before then.
Maybe get some new ideas. You probably will.
Maybe. All right. So next story we got that happened this week. Florida woman on her. Usually it's Florida man, right? Right. Nice little change up on things.
What date did you look up for this one?
Hashtag
This
smash
was
the patriarchy.
Like this week.
Okay,
Yeah. What do you think? Any guesses what she did?
Fucking, I don't know.
it's Florida. It could be anything.
Got her job degree. Or her law degree.
Close.
Did it?
Close.
Yes!
Any
No.
I knew it was going to pay off eventually.
Florida woman allegedly throws a dog off a balcony and kills it. Her ex's.
Well, no.
It was off the 7th floor.
You don't get to do that.
Yeah, it started with cell phone. Then she threw some keys. Next thing you know,
It just escalated from there to
yep,
a dog.
that's literally the words. That's my notes. Escalated to a dog.
A literal, beautiful little fuzzy animal, man's best friend.
Yeah.
Obviously not woman's.
No. So if you hadn't guessed yet, I should have followed this up after Mountain Dew. She was drunk.
Was she?
She was. She said it was quote like a blur.
Did she? Well, hang on. You said, I'm putting two and two together here. Was she drinking Mountain Dew seltzer?
Possibly. I
Because you
can't.
said they are available in Florida.
I did say that. It's very possible. I can't confirm that. That was not in the stories I read, but
We can assume.
I would like to assume, yeah. And I'll never like to assume. So she said, quote, like a blur, and her lawyer said that she is traumatized.
Traumatized by the seltzers?
At least by tossing a dog off of
She
fucking...
can't say she's traumatized for doing that.
She's like the Undertaker when she threw Mick Foley off Hell in a Cell, you know?
No, because you can't throw a dog off a balcony and be like, how could I have done that? Like, no, you don't get to feel bad for yourself afterwards. You did that. You should be burned at the stake.
Could
with
you
Joan
do
of
it?
Arc.
Could either of you guys do it?
Throw a
Throw-
dog off a balcony?
Yeah, throw a dog off
No.
a balcony? No?
I don't care how mad I freaking get. No, I'll
Couldn't
never.
do it?
Because the dog didn't do it. Dog didn't make me mad. No, I'm not gonna throw innocent little pooch.
If I was rabbit and I had to do it, I could do it. All right, final news story. So I think it was like 850 McDonald's plus like a number of Starbucks, Coca-Cola. Just they ain't fucking with Russia no more right now.
They're not. Yeah, they're cutting their ties with Russia, like everyone else in the world. Russia effectively can only like send airlines to Belarus and I believe China. Like nowhere in the West, they can't send airlines to anywhere in the West. They are
So they're kinda
completely
stranded.
They are completely cut off. The ruble is now like 60 something to $1. Like that's like their dollar, and it's worth less than a penny. It isn't good to see because ultimately it's important to remember that sanctions really hurt the people, especially
It does. That's the one thing I was going to mention.
especially in a system like Russia where the oligarchs and Putin, they're going to be fine. Meanwhile, tax rates and shit are going to go up for just the everyday Russians. And again, there's really good people over in Russia. And on that point, like I said at the beginning, I got to talk to a Russian woman and ask her a couple of things. Just some, just what's it like there? What do you think about America? What do you think about Russia? Yeah. I was not on the record with her, so I don't want to exactly like quote her.
Yeah,
I don't think that's fair.
I don't think anybody even knows who it is.
But she did say something that was incredibly interesting to me, which I'll kind of give a little bit of. She said her and all of her friends...
While they lived in Russia?
Yes.
Okay.
So they thought America was the shit. Like, they celebrated, like, American Halloween, American-style Christmas, Thanksgiving, like...
I fuck with that.
Like, actual, just like American holidays. They loved Disney. And, like, when this came up, it was because I had said...
Can I say, like, do you think she was just saying all that just to be like, yeah, we're cool?
No, I don't.
Okay.
She was being very honest, but I brought it up and I said, here in America, we definitely still have to some extent the Cold War mentality, right? We don't think about them all that great here in this country. And I kind of told her that sort of held over from the Cold War, and I was curious how it was like in her country, and she said what I just said, that they actually idolized America and thought it was the shit. And that was very interesting to me. It just makes you realize, like, you can have such a different perception about someone than what they have about you. Mm-hmm. It's anecdotal, but still, it was just eye-opening to me. And then when she was introduced, so I asked if they were Dutch, and then he said, no, I'm Polish, and then said she was Russian. And then she actually, like, elbowed him and was like, you shouldn't have told him that. And I was like, I felt that. I was like, damn, like, you think I'm going to, like, judge you right now? Like, you're worried about finding out, like, me finding out that you're Russian? You're actually worried about that? Like, that touched me a little bit. I was like, that's tragic. I don't think you should.
That's kind of what I was asking. Like,
you shouldn't have to feel like that. Like,
yeah, I agree.
So, like, after that, we sort of had a nice little conversation. She sort of, like, opened up and started having some more real conversation. But I just wanted to bring that up because I thought that was very interesting.
So with all that introductory bit out the way, we got to take an ad break, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
This episode of Sounds Obtuse Podcast is brought to you by
Jeans with pockets for women. Ladies, are you tired of lugging around a gigantic $300 purse to only really carry around your phone, cards, keys, and chapstick? We get it. And that's why here at JWPFW, we make a very controversial decision that women should have pockets too. Because obviously, the simple truth is, folks, that women's clothing lacks pockets for the sole purpose of selling more handbags. And that is lazy marketing. So we decided that since we sell only jeans and not handbags, fuck the handbag makers. We use the latest in stuff-holding technology to ensure you never need a handbag again. You know what's better than a $300 Michael Kors purse? A free pocket. So use code FUCKTHEPATRIARCHY and save on your first order. Sizes range from XXS to 5XL because every woman deserves pockets.
Thank you. Pockets for Women. Buy jeans. Buy their jeans because they help support our podcast. Thank you, Jeans with Pockets for Women, for supporting Sounds Obtuse Podcast. Dylan, would you like to thank our sponsors? Any words?
Which one?
Jeans with Pockets.
Pockets with jeans?
For women. By women.
Women with pockets for jeans.
Women with jeans for pockets.
Women with Pockets.
Thank you,
for
Pockets.
Jeans.
Thank you, Jeans. And thank you, women, for supporting the podcast.
Thank you, Jeans with Pockets, for women, for supporting the podcast. We really appreciate them. I mean, come on. Why do jeans not have pockets, guys? It's just...
You can't fit your lipstick in there. You
I
can't fit your thumb in there. You can't fit your phone in there. You can't fit your wallet in there. You can't fit anything in there.
Unless, of course, you get
Jeans with Pockets.
There you go. Jeans with Pockets. For women. Wonderful company. Fantastic.
Women owned, right?
Oh, yeah, certainly. Use that code, Fuck the Patriarchy, to do just that.
Gotta have it.
Gotta have it. So with that said, Christian, what are we doing here today?
We're talking about women. Because it's Women's History Month. And we want to educate ourselves. Dylan, I don't know about you. I don't understand the ladies as much as I understand a lot of things. And let me tell you, I don't understand a lot of things.
I can understand that.
But we have this fortunate opportunity here during Women's History Month. During Women's History Week, I think it was the day was yesterday or something like that. I don't know. We have a lady here, Lady A, in fact, we're gonna talk about this this list that Vice published. Couple things that like men like Dylan and I
Chauvinistic pigs, also.
allegedly.
Possibly. Like, not trying to be, but we probably are. After looking at this list, I think we probably are.
Maybe.
But with, like, good intentions.
And
we mean well.
I want to have the best intentions and have the best knowledge
right.
for those
We wanna
intentions.
get better.
That's what we're trying to do here.
So how can we do that?
So,
A list of things that we can do from Vice
yeah.
to improve the lives of women.
Mm-hmm. So, Lady A, I'm going to read these, and we're going to kind of like give our take on them and see.
What you think about what
Do you think
we've
we
said.
should?
I think we should give our take briefly, and then let her tell us how we're wrong.
All right, I was going to say either that or okay.
Because
I'm down with that.
How many times have men corrected women? I think it's time.
That might be one of these things on this
I
list.
think it's time we go the other way around. I think it's time that she corrects us and tells us how
Let's do it.
wrong we are.
I love it. All right, so the first one, for starters, Dylan.
Yes.
Learn to praise a woman without demonizing other women. And it has like in quotes here, it says, "You're not like other girls" is not a compliment. I want to be like other girls. Other girls are awesome. Say things like that.
So I can understand that, because I do think that there is inherently, like, from the outside looking in, I see a lot of division between women.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might have said on the pod before, like, if you put a group of women together, there's a possibility they're gonna possibly fight with, like, a couple of them are gonna fight.
Yeah, I can see that.
Not to generalize.
You can say that with guys as well. You can say it with anybody.
You can say that, but still, I think I just find instances of a lot of guys a lot more chill. Maybe that's just me, but I can understand that I think that women are almost forced to be adversarial towards each other, so that when you come along and perpetuate that yourself, I think you're just adding on to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like trying to just respect that you don't have to view other women as adversarial, and you don't need to reinforce that. It's kind of like what I'm taking away from it.
Yeah, you don't have to like I think say like this is the what I'm getting at is like it's almost leading you to look for alternatives. Like actually, it basically comes down to it's like someone saying actually this is the ideal woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I do see what you're
Does
saying.
that make
Like,
sense?
Yeah, like you don't do this thing, and that makes you better than the other women.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I see that too.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I think good points. Look at us making ground.
I hope so.
Now let's find out.
Let's find out.
I don't think you did too bad on that one.
Do you want the button? You could do a thumbs up or like a clap. You have the power.
Not necessary.
Yeah, I just like ready for us to go on wrong.
I know.
What do you think about that, Leo? How does that make you feel?
I think the comparison trap can be such a big problem. I do. I have all my life hung out with guys mostly because of drama, just avoided it. And the girls that I'm closest to are also like other girls who have hung out with guys and kind of just, we don't want to deal with drama.
You guys found your clique.
Yeah. I mean, finally at my point in life, it's nice to feel like I've like found my people,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. I think that there's no value in building yourself up by tearing someone else down.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
In general, and I think woman might be, especially according to this, perhaps because that is so prevalent that like I said, like you said, Dylan, you don't want to perpetuate that. Mm-hmm. Next one. Before explaining something to a woman, ask yourself if she already knows more about that thing than you.
See, so I think we did have a discussion about this.
Yeah, a little brief one.
I understand it. Because as somebody who loves to explain things and like takes great pleasure in like someone being like, "Oh, I don't know about that, tell me more." I'm very into explaining things, as I'm sure you all and anyone listening can attest. What? So I will get very excited about explaining something to someone. And I know that there's been times when I've gotten to that just excited level. And that's where it's coming from. It's just a level of just excitement. But I'll be explaining sometimes more than you need to people who already know about it. I kind of size up the person I'm talking to, like, do they know about this or not? And I know that I am guilty that if I'm talking to a man about history, I don't have to explain too much. And I know I'm guilty of it, that if I'm talking to a woman, I will almost always just assume I need to give more detail.
Really?
I do. And I don't know, man. Like, it's not like, and again, I am to the point of realizing it and not wanting to do it. Do
you think it's specifically women or just like particularly that woman would know less? Because like
there is certainly other men that I'll be like, this guy
you'd have
doesn't
that.
know what
Yeah,
he's doing.
you would say exactly the same.
I feel honestly that I can say that I probably over-explain to women, and I've been stopped before and be like, yeah, I do know about that, and it's like, oh, I'm very sorry.
I don't think that's ever happened
and
to me.
realizing, oh, maybe you're just a better man than me, Chris. I don't
Maybe.
know, but I'm realizing that before we even talked about this list. Like, I mean, this is something that I have personally realized. Like, okay, you kind of might do this and need to maybe stop.
Because I've definitely heard you over-explain something to guys and girls probably equally.
Mm.
You know what I mean? For me, like, I generally only explain things when I absolutely know it needs more explaining. Like, I'm not going to go out of my way and do that. So in that sense, I don't think I have ever been guilty of that. But I just like
Christian Cruz has never mansplained once.
I was
No.
gonna say mansplain. You took it away.
Is that what they're saying? Why don't they just say that?
Because
That's what they're saying.
Because that's a dumb phrase that
Okay.
that men invented.
Well, I've definitely never done that. No, especially with the intent purpose of condescending nature. No, I've never done anything like that. How does that make you feel? Do you get that often? I couldn't imagine because you're really smart in my book, at least.
In the music industry, have you ever felt that?
I'm sure I have, but I think it's also one of those things that you just kind of are used to, and so maybe you don't even.
That's bullshit.
I know, shouldn't be.
No, yeah,
but
for
but
sure.
when it's something I was thinking about when you were talking too, and I was like, are you explaining because you think that you need to, or because that's what you've learned? Is that in general most of the guys you talk to know more about the history? Like, is it really any fault of yours if that's what your experience has been? I think where this has affected me more is I'm actually handy. People don't think that I'm
Right.
handy. I don't look like someone who'd be handy, but I have roofed a house, I've tiled a floor, I've built a deck. Like, I like power tools.
I love it.
And so people don't expect me to know how to use them. Do you think that there's a chance that I know more about building things than you do?
Oh, 100%. I don't know shit about building anything. Say one time that I saw it firsthand in a backwards way. We got new neighbors one day, and the neighbor came over and started talking to me
About your truck?
about my truck. Yada, 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 yada. And he was going on and on and on, and he was baffled when I said, oh, I don't actually know anything about trucks. That's not even my truck. I drive the little car. And he was laughing, and he was like, what do you mean? You drive a car, and she drives that big truck. And it's like, so it's not, I'm not saying it's the same thing, but I saw it sort of in reverse of, like, he couldn't imagine that, and like, she knows a lot more about trucks and cars than I do.
It's almost like the reverse because he's assuming you know something.
I know lots of guys that like to drive minivans. I will not get a minivan.
Fight him.
I will
Not
not.
too bad.
See, look.
We got next one. It is not cute to persuade a woman to have sex with you. In all caps. Ever. Period. At all. Period. Go home. Not even a little cute?
I don't think that needs much explanation. I mean, no means no.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, isn't that just the fucking rule? Like, no
Yeah.
means no. So if you're hitting on a woman and she refuses you, you leave and do something different.
I don't want to get that conflated. Like, it doesn't say, like, no means no in this, but assuming no is not said, or not directly or even anything like that.
Well, no, because if you have to persuade someone, then it means your advance was not receptive.
What if you, like, pull out some cash and they're like,
Christian?
that's not cute?
No,
That's not cute.
that's not cute at all.
No? What if it's like, Hello Kitty cash?
This guy, believe it or not, has never once mansplained, folks.
No, wouldn't do it. Wouldn't dare.
He doesn't explain anything.
You guys seem to be pretty set on this one. I'm not going to argue with you guys.
I haven't said anything about it.
She hasn't.
To try to persuade, it's not cute.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think
All
it is
right.
cute. I think
It's not. I agree.
Have you you've certainly.
I
been
wouldn't
to
use
parties.
cute. It's not cute.
I think you might have seen this even recently, but someone.
It's like the wear my hug guy, but it's like,
yes.
where my pussy at?
But like
Yeah,
the
no,
dude
that's-
that's like hitting on
that's
a
not
chick
cool.
and like a super flirtatious chick, and a dude's hitting on her, and she's like, nope, sorry, not really what I'm feeling, and then just like they keep doing it because she's being flirty with like other people, so like, well, fuck, might as well just get in here.
Yeah, it's not cute.
You can't do that.
Yeah,
Do-
I think it's not
do you agree?
cute. I think it's not cute. I think cute's a bad word for this, honestly, for this whole
Yeah,
question.
I don't know why they put.
I don't
cute
think
in
cute
there.
is the
There's
right
no-
word. I think that, I mean, unless they're talking like, somebody's like humming and hawing, maybe they're playing hard to get. Maybe that's kind of another way you could think of this question, but I still don't think it's cute.
Do you think the whole idea of she's just playing hard to get is problematic?
Yes.
I thought so.
Do you think it's not untrue though?
What do you mean not untrue?
Like, that's a possibility that someone actually is indeed playing hard to get.
Yes.
There are women who
I think there are women and men
yes,
that play hard to get.
Thank you. There are
individuals.
There are everybody who plays hard to get.
Everyone.
However, I believe that the idea that she's just playing hard to get as an excuse to just keep trying,
definitely.
keep pressuring,
Definitely.
keep it up. I think that's
Even if
overused.
it's true, you can't.
Yeah, no,
You shouldn't.
and you shouldn't try to be cute.
Cute is still a terrible
So
word for this
stupid,
question.
So stupid. It's not cute to continually harass someone.
Yeah, it's not. It's
It's
definitely
not
not
cute.
cute. Next one. We got stop calling women, quote, feisty. We don't need a special lady word for, quote, has an opinion.
Ooh.
I love that. I think Lewis might have a problem with it. You remember Lewis from
Mm-hmm.
Cyber Warrior Academy? I believe he uses the word spicy for his ladies.
Muy caliente.
Might have a problem with that. Me personally, I can respect that.
So basically, a lady has something to say, and it may be real shit. It might come off as crass. Some might say the terms like bossy, but I guess they're using feisty here.
You
like,
always hear shit like that, like she's
Yeah.
bossy, or she has a bad attitude,
Mhm.
or even just like
Feisty?
the bullshit, like you should smile more. Like why the fuck would you like get the fuck off?
If a guy said it, would you say he's feisty? Would you say he's bossy?
oh, he's scrappy.
No, never.
You wouldn't.
He's a real go-getter. He talks.
Right.
He tells it like he sees it. You know,
He's
it's
a
like,
straight shooter.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of no, I absolutely see that double standard. I see that. Is that how you feel about it?
I weighed in on it, right?
Perfect.
Okay. Next one. If you see a friend or colleague being inappropriate to a woman, call him out. You will survive the awkwardness. I promise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call him out. Save his butt.
Yeah. You should, especially not just for that reason. Save both of them.
Yeah.
Figuratively
And
or,
don't
or literally.
Don't ever give your friends passes. Like
Yeah.
No.
don't ever give your friends passes for being creeps or.
No. Except especially if Noah said, you gotta
You might be.
use your best judgment.
I had a pretty good friend of mine point out a girl, ogle at her, and I took one look at this girl and I'm like, she is 16 if she's a fucking day. So I was like, you need to fucking maybe not be doing this because you're not really checking what you're looking at here. Nor should you be doing it in general. But still,
Yeah.
it's like
Especially in the
yeah,
workplace. That's
like,
extremely inappropriate.
call your homies out, man. Don't fucking
You
call 'em
might.
out.
You might be the only person to speak up for that
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Anything in general, you
For
know,
how they're
like,
thinking about
Yeah,
something.
it's simple like, hey man, that's not cool.
Change their perspective.
Yeah. All right, next one. It says, hey, also try these. Be happy to have women friends without needing them to want to sleep with you. The quote, friend zone is not a thing. We do not owe you sex.
I would also agree with that one. I don't think that.
I don't think there's much that needs to be said about that.
I think the friend zone is sort of a myth, sort of like the not a myth because like we just sort of said, women do play hard to get, but it's sort of like that. Sort of like it can be used to like, oh, she's put me in the friend zone. It's like.
I think by saying that, like, you accepted it at that point, and then you put yourself there.
I think so. Yeah, I think the friend zone is something the person who says their friend zone does.
But are they saying that by putting in the friend zone that you think that that's not where you should have been?
I think in this context,
I think that's what they're saying
yeah,
here.
there's like a certain amount of like ownership
it's
over.
the friend zone is basically like to them, it's like the bullpen
Yeah,
of
you're
like
trouble.
There were certainly times in my life when there was like a girl who I was like thought kind of wanted to do something. So you strike up, you hang out, and it turns out it's not what's going on. And you realize like, oh, actually, you sort of like distance yourself from that person. You just feel like you're in a whole different world with that person. Even though in reality, nothing actually changed because they never wanted to sleep with you. You just thought that. And now because you know that they don't, now your whole relationship has changed, even though it really didn't on their end.
And you're just acting weird.
Yep, you're the one being weird.
Yep.
I mean, certainly been there before. And
I could except I can't say I really have, but I could see being on either side of that. Just bad times. Next one. Remember that fat women exist and they aren't all trying to get thin. Treat them with respect.
the one thing I take like
Exception to is the respect.
well, I don't take exception to anything, but I sort of like really stands out is that they exist and some bigger women want to exist that way.
Yeah, I got no
And I
problem with
think-
that.
Oh no! Obviously, I have no problem with it, but I think that that's an interesting thing that we don't really ever talk about because I feel like the way that we talk about bigger people in general, like, oh, they desire to be skinnier, which doesn't necessarily have to be true.
No.
Like they desire to look.
Again,
a certain way.
it's one of those.
That's something
like,
you're putting on them. You don't
yeah, it's one of those
necessarily know,
assumptions that
yeah.
like I think again this is towards the gentleman, and I almost hate to think every guy does think like this, but if that's what women are feeling, then maybe we should just at least take a look at these things.
I don't think it's a matter of that every guy thinks that way, but I think enough have announced themselves to think that way that women certainly have taken note. So I think we've got a lot of damage to undo.
Okay, yeah, so treat him with respect. I think just treat anybody with respect. I think you just leave it at that. Does that
Everyone.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Fat, thin, skin, whatever. In addition to that, it says, in fact, here's an easy one to remember, just never comment on a woman's body. That too.
Also,
That too.
why do you need to?
Or anyone's body, for that matter.
Can you compliment? I'm not trying to be like
I
facetious here.
think I said once before, like past 2015, I do not even tell like anybody anything. I'm just like zip tied.
I do enjoy complimenting.
I do too.
And I'm not talking about like fucking like, oh, sweet ass toots. Like I'm saying like you notice that a coworker got her hair done and just saying like, hey, you know.
I won't even. I personally don't even go that far. It's too much for me. Real talk, dead ass. Like I'm not getting me too, dog.
This young lady every time she does something to her hair.
A friend is different. You can compliment a friend all the time, but like someone in like a more professional environment, just in the public, you might be at a store or whatever, like interacting with individuals basically.
I will be one of the first people to tell someone that their hair looks cool or that I don't know.
I'll comment on people's outfits, but that's it. I won't comment on anyone's looks.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe I need to.
And that is very. I mean, that's the thing. Like,
maybe I need to take it to heart and just not
when
comment.
When we were in the Smithsonian, you complimented that lady's hair. I thought it was beautiful too, but I was like, I'm not gonna say that. But I was like, then Dylan's pretty brave.
This one kind of relates back to that earlier question.
I don't know.
What do you mean?
Well, it relates back in that, is it so bad to say a compliment as long as you're not like comparing her to another woman?
Right.
But then where do you draw that line? It's like, can I say any compliment? I just don't.
No,
personally.
I get that.
It's unfortunate.
I get like being careful and just being like, well, I'm afraid I'm going to say the wrong thing, so I'm just not going to say anything.
And I think I don't want to misstep here by like conflating it with something else. But I think there are some elements of the same way that you view any other problem in like sexism, racism. I think there's like some very minute similarities in that, like, I think it's somewhat built on intent of like, if you're like walking around commenting someone simply because you want them to want you or something like that, I feel like there is a certain level of nastiness to it. But if you're just like the girl that we passed in the Smithsonian, she was a lovely African-American woman with a very large afro, very curly, and I loved it. And it was just like, it was just so beautiful. And I just had a comment. I was like, your hair is amazing. I love that. And she was very receptive, very, very happy to have my compliment. At least I assume by her reaction. And it's like, that was just meant with absolute love. Like, I wasn't trying to woo her or anything. I just wanted to let her know hair was fucking rocking that day.
Well, hopefully by the end of this we can figure out what is okay and what is not okay.
I don't want to give up complimenting people because I love complimenting people.
I don't think you should. This is the one, I think the first one that we've really kind of been like,
All right, number 9. Examine how domestic labor is divided in your home. Who does the cleaning, the organizing, the childcare, the meal budgeting, etc. I don't quite have a family, so it's really just me.
I think we're going to have to kind of turn this one over to Lady A over here. Actually, I can kind of give you real quick I think everything's 50-50.
Yeah, at least in my household growing up, that's how it was. Like, my dad worked one shift, my mom worked the other shift, transferred the kids off,
I do have some great perspective on this one.
Please.
I do agree with you. I think that especially now that we're in a society where usually the women are working as well, both people are working, then who are you to say that then she still has to do all this other stuff? Right. You do need to divide it up. And I think that the best thing you can do is not say, I'm going to help you do this job. So
interesting.
I get that.
You don't say, I'm going to help you do the dishes. I'm going to help you clean the house, because that implies that it is your job and I am helping you out by doing it.
What do you say?
You say, I'm going to do the dishes.
Yeah, I get it.
So you don't, you just, we are doing this. This is our problems and we are going to do it. And these are the parts I'm going to do. These are the parts that you do.
It's implied.
But don't say like, oh, hey, I helped you out by doing the dishes. I'm like, gee, thanks. I thought maybe you would just do them,
It's like hearing your spouse say that they have to babysit tonight. It's like, oh, sorry guys, I can't come out. I got to babysit. It's like, it's your fucking kid too, dog.
Yeah, and
sort
I
of
mean,
like that. It's like,
I am married and I work opposite schedule, and I would say I still have the kids a lot more, but I mean, he has to watch them when I'm working. Because otherwise, what's the point in like working if I'm going to just give my money to other people to watch my children?
So this one's actually related to learn how to do domestic tasks to a high standard. Quote, "I don't only do it wrong" is a bullshit excuse, but you already know that, right?
Yeah, I've definitely seen the thing where it's like, oh, well, I would ask my husband to vacuum, and this is not my case, but I've seen this. I'd ask my husband to vacuum, but he does a terrible job, so I just don't ask him anymore, and I'm pretty sure that's why he did a terrible job.
I feel like
so I
people
would
definitely
stop.
do that on purpose.
Yeah, but I also
Guys and gals alike.
in my circumstance, my father-in-law had 2 older sisters, so he didn't have to do a lot of like the household stuff growing up. So when my in-laws got married, like he didn't know how to do a lot of those domestic things, so she kind of taught him all of those things. So when they had a son, they made sure he knew how to do those things. Maybe not exact, nobody ever does anything exactly the same way as you do it. You can't expect that. But at least like that foundation was there.
you can at least expect the camaraderie, the teamwork, the partnership. I think that's what it takes.
Okay. All right, we got another one here. If you have friends or family members who use slurs or discriminate against women of other races or trans or non-binary people, explain to them why they must stop. As parentheses, also goes for cis white women.
Yeah, so this one hits home for me coming from the household I came in from Kentucky. I mean, my grandfather, love him to pieces. He's a racist man, I mean, there's no way around it.
They usually were back then.
There's no way around it.
But they made them.
I also think about, the fact that, like, I'm also the last of my line. If it continues, is going to be through an African-American woman. I wish he was here so I could explain that and see how he would deal with that. Because I don't actually get to know. I sort of just have to assume, and honestly, I'm not assuming much out of him. I think yes, you have to call out, like your friends, sort of the same thing. You have to call out your friends. But I think also, I can sort of relate to the things that I heard growing up from some of my family members.
Yeah, you just kind of have to hopefully be educated enough and hopefully not assume that they know more than you already know and tell them why that shit's wrong. Mm-hmm. So, you got to really pick your battles there.
You going to be...
Does that make sense?
You think?
Yeah, I think you guys pretty well covered it.
Up? Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool. So next one, trust women. When they teach you something, don't feel the need to go and check for yourself. And especially do not Google in front of them.
Okay.
It seems to be more mansplaining, essentially.
So this is a two-parter for me. I completely disagree with this. Not because of the women part, by the way. I'm not saying because of, like anyone tells you anything and you feel like you need to go fact check it, go fact check it. But if a woman is talking to you and she's like, oh, here's this cool fact I heard. I'm not sure if you're sure about that, toots. No, don't do that. Don't do that at all. That is terrible. But
anybody, you do it. It's kind of rude.
I don't like the blanket statement of
when someone teaches you something, don't feel the need to go and check for yourself.
That's how.
As a skeptic,
I think
that's
it's
how
the
QAnon
opposite.
started.
No, I think this is the opposite. I think that you need to question everything, and you need to do your own research, and you need to figure it out. And I'm going to tell you, if you tell me something and I'm looking it up, maybe a partial amount of it might be disbelief and like, is that for real? But then I'm also looking it up because I want to find out more.
See, my thing with this list, it almost makes it seem like just because she's a woman, I should just go
whatever
like
she says.
Yeah,
just go.
You know what I
with
mean?
it.
Like I said, it's a blanket statement. It's like what are we
necessarily-
talking about? Everything?
I can't co-sign that.
Yeah, like should I trust her on like how the mechanism of this bike works or how this rocket goes off
I would
or
say-
I mean, maybe if it's her area of expertise or something.
yeah,
that she
but how do
knows,
you know? You don't want to assume they don't already know what you don't know.
But again, I also think we might be nitpicking
Possibly
the tip a little bit. But I think don't just take blanket statements from anybody.
Okay. So do you love, quote, fiery Latina women? How about strong black women? Mysterious Asian women? Stop. Pick up a book on decolonial feminism. Read.
That's so specific.
I know somebody, whoever.
Someone made a 20-point list.
Somebody
just
made
to,
a rant
just to
right here,
sneak that
okay?
one in there.
That's a rant.
That is a documentary someone watched or a book that someone got turned on to, and they're like, I'm going to share it with the world. Now, in that same regard, I see the sentiment. Mm-hmm. I think when you start racializing like women for their sex appeal, I see a
there's a big problem in
I
that.
see a big problem there. I don't know that I'm going to go out and pick up a book on decolonizing. What was it? If I ever did? What is it?
Decolonial feminism.
Decolonial
It's
feminism.
available on audiobook.
Yeah,
Probably.
you have to check that out.
So I wouldn't mind hearing what a book about that has to say, but at the same time, I feel like the author might have been a little bit too passionate in that one. Potentially. At the same time, I get the sentiment.
Big problem. All right, next one. I think this is a good one. Again, this is just things that we can do for the ladies that would make them appreciate us more, and we got a lot of work to do there.
But also, I think in how you said that, also for us to be better.
Well, this one's definitely for them.
We don't need to do it for the ladies. We need to be better humans for us, so that the ladies will have a better life and better world for the future generation.
This one's for them for sure, though.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Buy sanitary pads and tampons and donate them to homeless shelters. Simple.
If I was to like just come by, grab you, say, yo, we're gonna go to Food Line real quick before reading this. And I came by and say, yo, we're gonna go to Food Line real quick. We're gonna put together 20 care packages for the homeless. Okay. Would you have ever thought to put feminine hygiene products in there?
I honestly probably would have.
Shut the fuck up. No, you
Real talk.
would not.
Real talk.
I won't believe it. I'm sorry.
Dog, I used to do homeless like stuff like that all the time, and like that's like one of those things. Even if you're like sending it to someone overseas, it's like that's what you think of. You think of toiletries.
So you've done this before?
Not like specifically, but like that sort of thing. I know what goes into it.
I have a hard time believing that the average male would have thought, if they were doing stuff for the homeless in general, to grab feminine hygiene products. I have a hard time believing that.
I like to keep up with women happenings, and I know that giving them tampons is pretty important. Like if I just handed you some tampons, you'd be like, "Thank you," right? Come on.
That's a whole nother story.
Come on. All right. Next up, finally, in fact. Remember that loving the woman in your life is not the same as giving up your own privilege to progress equality for women. And that gender inequality extends beyond the women in your direct social group.
Yeah, I get that 100%. You see it all the time of people who want to put, like guys who do everything for their spouse. And not like coddle, but I'm talking about just like, people who actually really treat their spouse the way that they should be treated as a woman, as a human, and then go out and treat other women not that way, or think about their own privilege in general and the idea of, in this household, I believe in being equal with her, but the idea that, if like laws start changing to make things actually equal, I would start having a problem with it. I think you could see that a lot. People who are fine with their spouse having all the rights in the world, but the moment that it's just in general women have more rights, I think you see people who probably wouldn't like that. So you need to treat them both the same.
I think you need to treat everybody the same. At least I do. But I think if you make the point of doing it for everybody, you won't have to make exceptions for women in general. And that should be the status quo, I think, ultimately.
But when it comes to women, there's a difference in how we act, and that's what this is highlighting.
We need to call these guys out. Tell them to get in line.
Yeah. So I'll be sure to call you out.
In fact, the next one says, teach your sons to listen to girls, give them space, believe them, and elevate them.
What you need to teach your sons is about periods, and so that they don't freak out about stuff. Have you heard that story about the boy on the school bus? Like there was a boy on the school bus.
Is it the one where he thought it was like a jelly donut?
No. Okay, I'm going to tell the story and you're going to listen. This girl got her period on the school bus, and she didn't know. So stop. And this boy noticed. He just came up to her and he said something very quiet to her. And then he said, here's my jacket. Tie it around your waist. Wear it home. Bring it back to me tomorrow. And she went home. And like this mom, when she found out what this boy had done for her daughter, was like, wow, I wish all boys were raised like that. To like to know what it is, to not freak out about it, and to be like, I'm going to help this person out instead of,
like that's uplifting.
Yeah.
Elevate, you
That
say.
That is a way to elevate. I mean, I would only hope that somebody would do that for my child, you know?
Hell yeah.
That women, what I'm getting from this is that if this was run by, you imagine several women that like, they want to be taken seriously and not like thought of as lesser. That's generally what I'm getting here. All right. Believe women's pain. Endometriosis is real. Polycystic ovaries. Vaginal pain. Cystitis. These things are real. Hysteria isn't. I want to turn the reverb on so bad.
Hysteria.
I don't know anything about it. I know what hysteria is, but I don't know any of the other things.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we deal with.
That shit sucks, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that can suck, and some of them, like, there's really not a way to make it better. It's just you deal with it.
I've probably like wrote off period pain sometimes.
I had times in college where I would miss like a day of class every month because I was so miserable.
See, and I like
I would be like laying in bed all day long, couldn't move, couldn't do anything.
Just bleeding.
And you just know that
But you're
this
just
shit's
in
coming
pain.
every fucking month.
It's not that part. The bleeding part isn't the hardest part. It's the pain and the discomfort and the bloating and the feeling like you like look like you gained 15 pounds, and there's a lot of things. I mean, and it can be bad. Like for those people who have like really heavy periods and stuff, it can be also really frustrating. You kind of have to like figure out what works for you, and there's not enough education out there for
Yeah,
people.
I'm wincing
There really
right now
isn't.
just at the thought. So, and I don't know that learning more about it would make me feel less of that way. I don't know. I hope so. Maybe I should learn more about it. Learn more about periods, so I don't,
Yeah.
Because just the thought of it makes me. That'll make you feel bad, Dylan? Like, just like swelling up and bleeding out?
I mean, yeah, it makes me feel bad. I'm sorry that they have to go through that.
And the thing that's really crazy too is just imagine like, hey, you've planned a trip somewhere, and then like you
Now you
just
gotta
get
do all
you just
this.
get off just a little bit, and then like you weren't supposed to have it, but now you do. And like the planning that goes into that, and then like
Oh, yeah. Like you go on vacation, you're about
Yeah.
to use a hot tub and whatnot.
yeah, I mean, as I've gotten older, like I figured out things that
That
work
would
like way
suck,
better.
man.
But like I remember being a teenager and going on a mission trip, and like we were going swimming in the pool, and it was like it's like a huge undertaking to like walk down the road to the pool and then have what you need, and more so getting out of the pool than getting into the pool, like
Right.
things like that. And like I'm like a middle school kid.
Do you think women should have to pay for feminine hygiene products like that?
I haven't really even thought about that. I mean, it's like a whole nother tangent though.
I guess so. I just think it's interesting that like you force women to pay for something that they have to deal with by no fault of their own.
I mean, don't we force people to buy a lot of things? You have to buy clothes.
Water, food.
I mean, you have to buy everything.
I mean, I get it, but I don't know. That one seems a little.
It's just
nefarious.
because you feel particularly bad for
I
us.
mean,
in that
Toilet
regard.
paper,
Maybe.
toothpaste,
Maybe.
whatever. Like,
Maybe it's because that's like one thing that women have.
but
to have
then
that
women
you
don't have to pay for anything else. You get free drinks all the time. It evens out.
It does not happen that way.
I'm just glad we don't give like hysterectomies because like bitches be tripping. That's what they used to do back in the day.
And once again, this podcast is still brought to you by Problematic Schmoblematic.
Hysterics, that's what it used to be. Last one here, and I think this kind of just summarizes it all. Mainly, just listen to women. It's the only place to start if you actually want all women to have a happy International Women's Day.
Is that what it actually says?
Yeah,
What a cheesy fucking way to end that.
I know.
What an absolutely cheesy fucking way to end it. You hate that. Okay, read it all except the last part again, because I honestly totally forgot what you read.
Just said listen.
Yeah.
Basically, listen.
Just
Yeah,
listen.
just listen. Yeah.
Just listen.
Pretty much.
Well, yes.
That's what we've been
You
saying.
just need to listen. That's what we're doing here.
So we've been saying this all the
Trying to
time.
You guys are both good listeners.
We try to be. We do.
I think you are.
I think that's how you learn. I mean, I'm a big fan of knowledge and learning. And
Knowledge.
Seeing people's perspectives. So
I mean, I mean, just knowing you guys, I wouldn't hang out with you if you weren't good to me. So
Cool. So, good guys.
you're on the right track. I mean, there's certainly
We can
things
improve.
that we hear.
Always
every now
room
and
for
then.
approval.
There's things that both of you say sometimes.
we can all do better.
All right.
We can all do better, but we are trying.
But I know your heart's in the right place.
That's not necessarily enough, just trying, but we are. So
Yeah, we definitely are. We got to take an ad break.
that's right. So we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Funding for this show is brought to you in part by the Seatless Toilet. Ladies, have you ever had your mans leave the toilet seat up, only for you to walk into the bathroom, not look where you were going, and sit down and then fall right in? Well, no more. With new seatless toilet, never again will you have to be responsible for your own actions when you quite recklessly sit down somewhere without checking it out first to make sure you won't just fall right in to the porcelain bowl abyss. Stay dry with seatless toilet and never fall in again. Your man may piss on the seat, but at least you can sit down without looking and be rest assured that you won't suffer an embarrassing demise.
I love seatless toilet. I'll never use anything else ever again.
And so will you when you try the new seatless toilet today and save 20% at checkout with code BROADS. And we're back. Thank you, Seatless Toilet, for sponsoring the podcast.
I love we ended with that.
You what?
I'm glad we got that in after we just grew and learned.
Can I just say that the one line in that ad, carelessly, what does he say when you recklessly?
God damn it, Chris. And boom goes the dynamite.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about the seatless toilet?
I did they have to use that as their keyword?
Yeah, we chose it ourselves.
Did you?
Yep.
Wow.
Could have been anything, but that's
what you chose?
We-
After all that growing
we
and
felt it
learning?
was appropriate for the episode, you know.
All that growing and learning
very
we did?
timely. Covers the broad spectrum of things, you know. Speaking of spectrums, what we got for us today, Dylan?
Well, we have the returning of the long-awaited Legends of the Spectrum!
Brr, 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 brr.
And we thought in honor of Women's History Month,
We did.
we would choose 2 women to be our Legends of the Spectrum this time.
So our first Legend of the Spectrum, women's edition, will be Temple Grandin. Anybody? You guys familiar?
Did you really? I almost picked Temple Grandin.
Oh, yeah. Temple Grandin. She's a scientist and animal advocate who is fighting for the humane treatment of livestock while they're being slaughtered. So basically, she does a lot of research. She's put out like 60-plus papers. She was born in the 50s, did learn to speak till she was like 3.5 years old. I think Einstein had a very similar thing. She is self-described as a visual thinker. Like I said, animal sciences is her field of study. She's graduated in 1970 from Franklin Pierce University, master's at Arizona State University, PhD in the University of Illinois in 1989. Of course, again, in animal sciences. At 18, she invented this cattle chute called the squeeze machine that essentially made the cows less stressed while they're being slaughtered. It was kind of like funneled them in there and squeezed them and made them as comfortable as possible during the whole process of, their demise, their slaughter. So this is in her words. She says, well, actually, this isn't for her words, but like they summarize her words, this passage here. For those wanting to further understand autism and better promote the gifts of those with autism, Grandin suggests not getting wrapped up in the name, which I think we've been almost trying to make a point of.
I feel like she should be a great guest on the pod. She just parrot back what we've been saying. Or really, we're just parroting what she's been saying already.
So yeah, she's basically, her empathy with the cows in particular allow for an understanding that makes them distracted, stressed, and calm. And she's done a lot of work to help the farmers improve their cattle manufacturing. A lot of good stuff there. So that is a Legend of the Spectrum for you. A wonderful
Temple
woman.
Grandin.
Suffers from Asperger's, if I didn't say that already. Yeah, really smart woman. I won't even say suffer from Asperger's, but is Aspergic and doing great things out there.
Yeah.
Fantastic things.
Legends of the Spectrum.
Indeed. Dylan, who you got today?
Mine, I chose something that people might understand. You know I'm a fan of the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came across this young lady, I knew exactly what I needed to do.
Hit us with it.
I chose Paralympic Olympian gold medalist Breonna Clark.
That's a winner right there.
She was diagnosed with autism at age 4, and then she became quickly involved in track and field around the same time. Her mother, believe it or not, former Olympian. So she obviously...
Runs in the blood?
Quite literally. Runs in the blood.
I like it.
Quite literally. So she had someone back home giving her all the support that she needed. She competed in the Paralympic Games the World Championship, and the Para-Pan American Games. And do you know what she did?
One.
She won gold for the USA or in 4x4 relay every single time. So, I mean, even, at 4 years old, she's basically being told, hey, your life's going to be different. And she decides,
fuck that shit.
Basically, man, like getting out there. I was watching some videos of her. She's so freaking fast. Just like the idea of, and not to be like super playful with the puns here, but nothing's going to slow me down.
Nothing's going to break her stride.
No, exactly. Like it just fucking doing it and going out there and be like, no, I'm all these problems aside. I'm not going to let anything slow me down, and I'm going to get out there and I'm going to win gold for my country, and I'm going to represent and be the best that I can be. And I think I just love that. That's what the Olympics are about to me. I hear some people say that they don't really like the inspiring stories that pop up during the Olympics. They just want to watch the sports. I say fuck those people.
I think that's the point.
This is exactly the kind of shit that I want to see whenever I'm like watching the Olympics. And to this point, and she kind of brings it up for me. Look, I'm guilty of it too. I talk the entire time that the Olympics were happening about the Olympics. You know what I haven't even once mentioned? The Paralympics.
Nope.
That's on me.
Are they running at the same time?
No, they run after. But it's like even after Tokyo, did not mention Paralympics. Didn't even. I watched a little bit, but it's just like sort of the same thing. It's like they're also representing our country, and as much glory and fanfare as I give to the Olympic Games, I think as Breonna Clark demonstrates, the Paralympians out there doing incredible work too. All dealing with all kinds of issues. I don't want to say struggling. As you said, it's not necessarily struggling because obviously they're not.
Definitely not. Do better than I am.
They are dealing is what they're doing and dealing incredibly well. So Breonna Clark, Paralympian, gold medalist, Legends of the Spectrum.
I love it. Gotta celebrate the ladies. Gotta celebrate the Legends of the Spectrum.
You do.
All right. So any last remaining marks? Today I had one more thing I actually wanted to ask you about, Lady A. We were talking about the ladies earlier. How do you feel about like what's your opinion on like say there's like two pens in the store, right? There's like a nice pen on the left, black, nothing fancy, but the one on the right is like pink and it's got like pretty flowers all over it. How do you feel about that?
Do you know what pens, like writing utensils?
Yeah, it could be anything, but it's like there's a guy one and there's a girl one that's obviously like pink and whatever.
Well, I don't really like pink myself.
Why? Well, how about that? Because like it's like that's the girl's pen, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you don't even like pink, so it's like what the fuck?
No. I don't. I have kids though. I have boys, my own boys, who would probably pick pink sometimes. They would definitely pick pink over black.
Purple's my favorite color.
Green and purple are my favorite. Green is top. Purple is right under there. Those
Purple's
are my
pretty
two.
cool.
Yeah, good colors. And
Okay.
purple, I think, is could go either way. I really do. And my kids were pink, all of them.
All right.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
Can you make a machine gun noise?
We're not doing this again.
We're not doing this again?
No, we're not.
I just thought in the spirit of equality.
No.
No. Okay.
I can't make a machine gun noise. We've already established this.
Well, as I know, you just no means no. So I'm gonna go and back off.
You're learning. It's not cute, Dylan.
I'm not trying to be cute. I'm gonna back right off because I am a gentleman.
Since you are a gentleman, I'll put some words that you might agree with to put you to that point. I heard you once said Lady Astor was a bitch.
She was a bitch.
There you
Come on.
go.
it's because of that insult list I pulled out.
Yeah,
There you
she
go.
brought it up. I mean, Lady A over here, as I said, women
Talking bad about other ladies.
Lady folk
What have we learned?
lady folk might be adversarial by nature. That's obviously a joke. R/sarcasm there, but
Allegedly.
no, I'm definitely being sarcastic. Lady Astor, though, why? You got to bring up Lady Astor. I don't like Lady Astor. She's just a bad person in British history.
Terrible woman. We talk about a lot of great women today. Just figured let's talk about a bad one.
We just got to keep things a little bit balanced.
Yeah.
What'd you say? You don't want people thinking we're simping for the women?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't want people thinking that. We're not all about it. There's still some bad ones out there. For me, probably Lady Astor. for Chris over here. Joan of
I love them all. Yeah, except
Joan
that
of Arc.
bitch.
Except Joan of
Anyway, I think that does it for this episode of the Sounds Obtuse Podcast, where we fully go off the rails. Any final words?
I would just say tune in next week when we go on the rails.
Bring,
Hey
That's
yo!
the sound Scooter makes, baby. Get used to it. Lady A, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure,
Absolute
as always.
pleasure. We always love it.
With all that said, peace and love.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Good night, y'all.
I have to Google it.
Scat porn?
You don't know what that is?
Whoa.
Do I not?
You know what? Google it.
I don't think I want
Don't
to.
Google it.
You go right
Don't
ahead.
Google it.
You gonna
Google
tell
it.
me?
Google
So I
it.
don't
What do you think it is?
What do you think?
I don't know.
Best guess.
I have no
Scat.
idea.
You've heard that. You've heard that
$1
term
million
before.
if you get it right.
You got
Oh.
fucking chickens. You've heard this
Ma'am?
term before.
For the $1 million question.
Oh,
What is
no.
scat porn?
No.
What do you think it is?
Poop.
Yes.